each and every college who has to go with the NAAC, who has to whatever college has scheduled the NAAC accreditation. So we have to go with all these procedures. So with all this, I'm also thankful to Professor Luthra, Director IQAC, for arranging this webinar series. So this would be beneficial for all of you. I think you will enjoy that. So with that, I'd like to request Dr. Luthra to shed some light on the series, on the lecture today. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kang. At the outset, I welcome Dr. Gagan Gale from Guru Nanak Dev University for sparing her time for this webinar. I may share with you that we as a team of 5, we have been working since last 1 year or so now on different aspects of SSR. And we thought that whatever intricacies we have come across, why not share with our fellow colleagues in the colleges? Because I got to know that many colleges are yet to file their AQRs and henceforth SSR. And it is in that light that we started with a series of webinars. And it is where today we are with you for the 3rd webinar in that series. The first was on curriculum aspects, the second was on students aspect or teachers aspect. Because these 3 become the pillars for SSR evaluation, in the sense that every other thing, maybe accounts, maybe how student-teacher ratio is working, what kind of quality issues are there, like publications, so on and so forth. All these things are interrelated, and henceforth this teacher's aspect becomes very important. And if you see the weightage assigned to the teacher's aspect, it is quite hefty as per the SSR notebook. So it is in that sense we have started with this, and without taking much of the time, I welcome on behalf of the university, on behalf of IQAC, on behalf of my IQAC team, and I welcome all the teachers of the colleges, principals of the colleges, IQAC in charges, and their representatives at this platform. And today we will be talking about what kind of data, what kind of information is required for AQAR or SSR related to teachers. So I invite Dr. Gagan for the presentation, but I will like to route through Dr. Tejwan Kang, who is the moderator of this webinar for the next proceedings. Thank you very much for joining this platform, and I thank you, Dr. Gagan, for sparing time. Thank you, Dr. Tejwan, for sparing your valuable time, because all of us are, and our fellow colleagues, they are all busy, but they will be learning something out of it, that is for sure. And I may tell you that for all the college teachers particularly, that on 14th of this month, we are coming up with a very important webinar, which is related to the quality initiatives. And UGC or NAAC has said that ISO standards have to be followed. So after this webinar, quickly we'll be shooting that brochure to you, and we will again come back at this platform on 14th, and that will be from external sources of IQAC. So with this background, I hand over the platform to Dr. Kang. Dr. Kang, please.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Luthra, for the nice information. So as Professor Luthra has told, like today we have Dr. Gagan Gale as a speaker for today's webinar. She is currently serving as assistant professor in the Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology for around last 10 years in the Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. Besides that, she has a vast experience in the making up of IQAC, because she is there. She's the basically, I would say, like oldest one there in terms of experience. So she is there for last 6 years in IQAC. She knows each and every lacuna and most of the things what is related with the different IQAC things, whether it is NAAC SSR, NAIF, or other ratings and rankings. So she's a good scientist too. Her current area of research is basically for the development of biomarkers to detect the male infertility and various other protein chemistry she is doing. So I will not take much time with all this. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Gagan. You may start with. And one more thing at the end. So like this webinar is going to be live streamed at YouTube. I hope so. You have got the links in that one. And if you have the queries in between, even you can post in the chat box. But it would be rather good. So if we will discuss after the presentation. Thank you very much. Please, Gagan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tejwant and Dr. Luthra, for this kind introduction. And so I'll start this webinar. So this is, as Sir said, this is a series in the series of webinars which IQAC decided to host in order for us to explain or give some valuable information or share with you whatever key components we understood during when our entire team was associated in submission of AQRs and SSR in the last few years. So I'll start the presentation right now. Is my screen visible?
Yes, dear. Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. So sorry. So today we are going to talk about one of the very important aspects involved in either in SSR or NAAC, and this is with regards to data pertaining to teachers. At the behest, I would like to tell everybody that what we are telling you is with respect to the university. There may be few questions which are over and above what are asked for colleges, but it's a very good thing to know everything about it. So it is possible that some of the questions may not be part of the college SSR or college AQAR. So the general theme which I'm going to follow is all my slides will have a number here, and this represents the section. So section 2 and question number 3.2. And this number over here is telling you how many marks have been allocated for that particular question. Then we'll discuss what needs to be done for that, or what kind of data is required. And we will also talk about some of the important aspects which need to be taken care. I will discuss what proofs are needed or what things need to be avoided. So this is how the presentation mode is going to take place. So we'll begin with section 2, which is concentrating on teaching, learning, and evaluation. And the first question pertaining to that is where the NAAC is asking us what kind of ICT-enabled tools are we using in our teaching process? Are we using online resources? Are we for effective teaching as well as learning? Because they want us to develop these resources so that our students are at par with education with other nations or countries all over the world. Now, this is only a write-up of around 500 words. And what we can discuss in this is what kind of online resources we are using, whether we are using Google Classroom, or we're using NPTEL or SWAYAM, or you may be using your own LMS system. We'll also can talk about the ebooks and the e-journals resources which are being used for teaching, or any other ICT tools which are being used by your institute. Now, in case your institute has developed its own LMS or academic management system, it will be a good idea to provide a link for that web page. That will be a very useful thing to be given to NAAC. The next question in this section is regarding the number of full-time teachers which have been hired against the sanction posts. So we can see that this question is about for 15 marks, which means it is of very high importance. And the question here, when we are giving the data with respect to this question, we need to remember two very important things. One is that this data is going to be used for a few more questions downstream, and many of the calculations are based on this. So we have to be very careful about our input over here. Secondly, in this case, the term which is full-time basically represents all those teachers who are sharing more than 90% of the prescribed workload. So if this means that any teacher who has more than or at least 90% of the prescribed workload, they can be considered as full-time. So what we need to give here is we need to give the name of the full name of the teacher, full-time teacher, the PAN number, the designation, whether the person is assistant, associate, or a professor, which department he or she belongs to, what is the nature of the appointment, whether it is a temporary post or a permanent post or a sanctioned post, which year the appointment took place, what are the total years of experience in this institute. So we are talking only about the current institute. And also that if the teacher is still working or has left, and in case the teacher has joined some other place, we need to give the last year of service of that particular faculty in our institution. Now, if it is an AQR, you need the current academic year data. But if it is for SSR, then you will need year-wise data for the last 5 years. A very important thing which needs to be remembered is when we are talking about the sanction posts, we need to give a proof either in the form of a sanction letter or any other document which indicates how many posts have been sanctioned. And this document needs to be authenticated by the head of your higher education institute. In our case, it is the registrar of Guru Nanak Dev University who authenticates that data. Now, when you are giving those sanction letters or any of the documents, please remember that they do not have to be, or they should not be in the regional language, because then it is going to be difficult for NAAC to read them. So we cannot use any regional language. So once we have filled in the data, we can go to the next section, next question, which is 2.4.2. And this is talking about how many of the full-time teachers which we referred to before in the last question, how many of those have PhD. So they are now looking at the quality of teachers we have employed in our respective institutes. So they can be either PhDs or higher educations like DM, DSc, DLIT, or any other super specialty. Now, the data which is needed here is the name of the full-time teacher. And as I said, these teachers should be the same ones which we have listed before, which qualification they have, whether they are a PhD or a DSc or a DLIT, and the year in which that particular degree or that particular qualification has been obtained. Again, for those teachers for whom we have put PhD as the qualification, we need to remember that honorary PhD degrees are not to be considered. We can't consider honorary PhD degrees, so we should avoid putting the names of those teachers over here. And then when the DVV verification is taking place, many a times the NAAC team or the DVV team is going to ask you randomly for the PhD degree certificates or whatever degree we have written here, certificates of a particular faculty. So we also need to be ready with them, because when DVV verification takes place, it gives you only about 10 to 15 days of time to get all your ducks together and give them the data. Now, the next question is regarding the experience of the teachers in our institute or in the institute which is filing the NAAC SSR or the AQAR. So here we are concentrating on this particular column, which is the total years of experience. And as I said before, this is pertaining to the experience in that particular institute only. We cannot include any previous work experience in a different institute. And again, during the DVV verification, randomly the DVV people are going to ask you either for appointment orders or for experience certificates of certain selected faculty. So in order to ascertain that the data which you are giving is correct. So please be careful about the names of the teachers which you are including, because you do not want any random name to be given, and then finally when DV verification takes place, you are not able to provide any appointment order. So that will be bad for the a particular college or an institute. And this is also of great importance because it carries around 10 marks. Okay. And next time, the next question, now the NAAC people are trying to find out the teachers which we have hired or which are present in the university or college, how many of those have received any awards, recognitions or fellowships. Now these awards, recognition or fellowships need to be either at the state level or the national level or the international level, and they also have to be from government or government recognized body. Any private person which is not being recognized by either of these two, you cannot include any of the awards or recognition given by those. A very good example of these type of awards can be your INSA fellowship, or your JC Bose fellowship, or you are fellow of the Academy of Sciences in India. So these are some of the national fellowships which I can think about. So again, when we are looking at the data, this is the data table which is mandatory, and we have to give the name of that teacher who received the award, which year the award was received, what is the PAN number, what is the designation, what is the name of the award or the fellowship, what is the name of the awarding agency, what kind of incentives were given to that particular teacher in recognition of the award by the HEI, and we have to provide link to the relevant documents. So whenever you see this column labeled as link to the relevant documents, it basically means we need to provide proof for what we are saying over here. Whatever information we give in this table, we need to authenticate it by means of proofs for that. So, and what are the proofs in this case? The proofs in this case are going to be the e-copies of the award letters. Also, another thing which is very important here is that it is possible that there may be one teacher who has been awarded more than one fellowships or awards, but NAAC is only going to count them as one. So one teacher is counted only once, irrespective of the number of awards which are given. And these awards need to be state, national or international. They cannot be from the local bodies. Neither can they be any intra or inter-university awards or any inter-institution awards. Many a times we have seen that people put participation or presentation certificates from workshops or from conferences, and those are not to be considered. So please do not include that data over here. That is not going to be included by NAAC. So this is also very important. It carries around 10 marks. And in the next question, section, I would say, section 3 is pertaining to the research, innovations and extensions. So the teacher's data related to research or any innovation or any extension activity which has been done by them is going to be asked here. So we are just looking at how well our research program is also undergoing in our university or in our educational institute. So in this question, we are talking about either a national fellowship or an international fellowship or any other financial support by various agencies which is given for advanced studies or research. So we do not include any grants in it. Basically, we are including any award which has a financial support with it. For example, JSPS award or Wisdom Fellowship to go abroad, or you have Newton Bhabha fellowships. So you can include those fellowships, but you cannot include awards like Best Teacher Award, Certificate of Appreciation, and neither we can include grants. And again, the proof which the NAAC demands at the time of submission of your SSR or even AQAR is the e-copies of these award letters. So we have to be ready with them at the time of submission itself. Now, the data which is needed again here is again the name of the teacher, what is the award or the fellowship which has been given, which year the award was given, as well as the awarding agency. So all these data which we give here should actually be in the e-copy itself. So they will be cross-checking this data with respect to the e-copies. The next question in this section is again for awards or recognitions, but these are for research as well as any innovation which has been done either at the institute level or at the teacher level, research scholars or student level. So it carries 10 marks and you will have to give the title of the award or the innovation, what is the name of the awardee, which is the name of the awarding agency with the contact details, the year, as well as whether it is an institution award or a teacher award or a research scholar award or a student who got that award. So please remember once again, just like the question before, we cannot include grants. We cannot include any participation or presentation certificates for workshops or conferences. We also cannot include the awards which we have just claimed in 2.4.4, which were for INSA or GSPS, as INSA or FNSE or JCPOS. Again, patents also cannot be included here. So and what we also have to give as proof the e-copies of all the award letters right at the point of submission of your SSR or NAAC. It is not important to have thousands or hundreds of teachers with this award. What is more important is we need to have the right number of awards and the important ones, which will help in getting us score in this question. Then in 3.4.2, whichever data we shared in 3.4.1, if you remember, I'll just go there again. This is can I request?
Miss Shivani Gulati, please, are you hearing me? Shivani Gulati.
Okay, I think I can start. So we are talking about the incentives. Somebody's mic is on. So we are talking about the incentives which have been given by the HEI in recognition of the award which we mentioned here. And these incentives can either be a commendation and monetary incentive, or they can be a commendation and medal, or a certificate of honor and announcement in the newsletter or websites. So that is what we have to include over here in this column. Whether monetary incentive was given, or you were given a medal or a certificate, or an announcement was made in the newsletter or the website. Again, e-copies of award letters, which we have already done in 2.4.4 is needed here. So there is nothing extra data which is required. And this carries 5 marks. The next question in this section is about the patents which have been published or awarded. So I would like the everybody to just realize that when we are filing patents, actually there is a life history to it, in the sense you first file a patent, then it gets published, and finally it gets awarded. So there are 3 stages in the life story of a patent. So we do not include the patents which have been only submitted. After around 18 months, a patent is going to be published, and then finally it may or may not be awarded. So NAAC is asking us information of only those patents which have which are either published or awarded. So we have to give the name of the patentee, name of the patent number, the patent number, the title of the patent, as well as the year in which that patent was awarded or published. Now, this patent number is going to be unique, and NAAC or DVV verification actually checks the authenticity of your data with this patent number. So one has to be very careful that we give the correct patent number, and we also need to keep proofs with us, because they may be asking you for those proofs during the DVV verification. Another important point, please give only those patents when the faculty was working in your institute, not the ones when they were not working in your institute. So only include those patents where the faculty obtained them while working during their tenure here. This also carries 10 marks, and after that, the NAAC wants us to talk about the number of PhDs which have been awarded per teacher. So they're ensuring that there is a regular process, a research process, which is taking place. So we have to give the name of the PhD scholar. We have to name the department. What is the name of the guide? Title of the thesis, the year of the registration, as well as the year of award of PhD. So you cannot have in this data when you give, please remember that the name of the guides can only be the name of the teachers which you have already included in section 2. Also, these numbers cannot be more than the number of teachers with PhDs, because only those teachers who have PhDs have the ability to guide other students for their PhD. So this is a tricky point. If we are playing, we have to be very careful about that, not to include any wrong data in this table. Again, the section is for 10 marks, and you may also give a URL to the research page on your college or institute's website, which will give you all this information over there also. And then during DVV verification, they may ask you for the proof that such a PhD was awarded. So we have to be ready with those proofs also. Then the checking about the researchability of a particular institute, they are looking at the research papers, how many research papers per teachers have been published, and these are included in the journals which have been notified on the UGC website. So they are either in the UGC care list, or they are in the Web of Science, or they are in the Scopus. So we need to give the title of the paper. We have to give the name of the authors on the particular paper, which department the teacher is belonging to, which is the name of the journal. And remember, the affiliation shown on that paper needs to be of that particular institute. For example, if we were submitting the research papers, our teacher's affiliation on that paper was Guru Nanak Dev University and not any other, because otherwise it won't be considered. Which year the publication was done, and what is the ISSN number. These are very important. We need to give the ISSN number. Also important is data is these three columns in pink. We need to give a link to the website of the journal. So this is a way to authenticate that they are enrolled in the UGC list. Also the link of that particular paper or the article or the abstract, and then list whether it is in the UGC care list, or whether it is in the Scopus or in Web of Science. And if it is not in either of this, please mention other in that column. So this is, if it is SSR, it is data with respect to the last 5 years. And as I said, publications with affiliation of your institute only will be considered. And incomplete entries in this table or screenshot of publications, whether you're not providing any link, but simply giving screenshot of the publications, will not be considered, and your data will be not valid then. So please be careful about this. This is very important. It carries 15 marks. So it has a very high weightage in your NAAC SSR or either your AQA, even in AQAR report. After the publications, the NAAC asks us information about the books and chapters. And these are those books and chapters which are either in edited volumes or they are new books published. And in addition, we can also talk about conference proceedings which in which the papers have been published either in national or international level. So you will give the name of the teacher. You will also provide, if it is a book or a chapter, you will provide the title of the book or the chapter. If it is not, if it is a proceeding or a paper published in a proceeding, then you will give the title of the paper, the title of the proceedings of the conference, which year the publication was done, what is the ISBN or the ISSN number. This is also again very, very important to give the number. and whether at the time of the publication the affiliation was with your educational institute or not. And then again, this last column, which talks about the name of the publisher, is also very important. So these two things we have to be very careful about. During DVV verification, they may randomly ask you to provide proof of selected publications. So we have to be ready with those stuff also. After that, the NAAC is asking us questions about what kind of e-content has been developed by our teachers, whether it is for the EPG Pathshala, whether it is for Swayam, for CEC, for any other MOOC platform, for any other government initiatives, or for institutional LMS. Your institute may have done either for one of them, or all of them, or few of them, and this again carries 10 marks. So the information which you need to give for this one is what is the name of the module which has been developed, which platform it has been developed, means whether it is on PG Pathshala or Swayam or any other MOOC, what was the date of launching of the content. Then we have to also provide a link, because if you have published it online, there must be a link for it. So we have to give the link for that relevant document, and also list which the e-content development facility available. Whether, for example, in GNDU, whether we develop that in HRDC or we develop in our ODL lab or in mass media lab. So we have to list that name, and also provide link to the videos of the media center and recording facility. Again, they are looking at the fact that our institute has the facility to develop e-contents and then publish them online. So this is very important. These videos also are going to provide proofs. Now, in this, when we are providing them with proofs, please remember that you cannot give any informal e-content or any open source e-content which is available on the internet, because then that is not going to be considered. And as I said, you will have to upload links regarding which e-content has been developed. Now, the next two questions, 3.4.8, which are looking at the quality of the research which is being done in your institute, is by measuring either the bibliometrics or the H-index, will be calculated by the NAAC itself. So these are calculated automatically from either Scopus or from Web of Science. And when these calculations have been done, what they are going to do is they are going to send you from InflibNet directly. And then if you do not agree with that, then you can ask them, ask them for a clarification if you don't agree with that data. So we don't have to worry about this, because this is already available on InflibNet via Scopus or Web of Science. And similarly for 3.4.9 also, where the H-index of the institute is going to be calculated. This is again based on data from Scopus or Web of Science. And in case we disagree with the data which they have calculated or the number, then we can always ask for a clarification. So 3.4.8 and 3.4.9 are actually very, very important. They carry 15 marks, but so we have to be very careful when we look at the data obtained from InflibNet by DVV, by the DVV during DVV verification, and then check it. And if we have questions, we can always ask them for clarifications. The last question in this section, in 3.6.2, is regarding the awards which have been received either by the institute or by the teachers or by the students for the various extension activities. So this will be including awards, for example, your awards, like your NSS or NCC cadets get, or any other student or teacher which has received an award for the various extension activities which have been carried out. It can be the institute itself too. So we have to again give the name of the activity, which is the award or recognition which has been obtained, name of the awarding government recognized bodies or other, and as well as the year of the award. Again, as a proof, it is mandatory to submit the e-copy of the award letters. If you do not include the e-copy, that particular award is not going to be considered. You cannot include any local award, so it has to be something which is from either from the government or from the government recognized bodies. You cannot include awards from your own trust or sister institutions, which belong to your institute. So you can't do that. Only government or government recognized bodies awards from that particular sources will be included in this data. The last question, which pertains to the teachers in the SSR, is in section 6, which talks about governance, leadership, and management. And here they are looking at what incentives or opportunities are provided to the teachers to improve their skill set. So by joining or undergoing online or face-to-face faculty development programs, these can include your professional programs, your orientation programs, your induction programs, refresher courses, or any short-term courses. So here you will talk about which year that particular program was undertaken, the name of the teacher who attended the program, and this program necessarily doesn't mean to be needs to be have been done in your institute. The teacher could have gone to some other institute and taken up that program. What is the title of the program and what was the duration? Now, duration is important because any program which is less than 1 week is not going to be considered. So we have to only include those which are more than 7 days, because that is what is mandated by UGC also. So you can't include any data where we say we have attended seminars or we have gone for invited talks. This is not the place where this needs to be done. They can ask you for proofs later on. And again, in this case also, if there is only one teacher who has attended multiple programs, she or he is going to be considered only once. And as a proof at the time of submission, you can either provide with an IQAC report summary or reports of HRDC where that particular program was held. So this is the data which is needed for 6.3.4. So that brings me to the end of this presentation, where we talked about data with respect to teachers, and I would be happy, in fact my entire team would be happy to take any questions.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Gagan, for the nice presentation. So now I'll request my fellow colleagues, so if they have any queries, so even they can put in the chat box or can ask Gagan directly. Please, so it would be very helpful for us, because sometimes, like, whatever you got the things, many people have not gotten. Okay, so raising a question, it would be beneficial for all of you. Please.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Smriti from Forest College of Commerce for Women.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, my question is, if any teacher has received honorarium for publication of research paper, in which metric it would be covered?
I'm sorry, honorarium for publication of what?
Publication of research paper.
So the section where for publication of where we were actually it can't even be included in awards, because you can only include the paper in the if it is Scopus Index or Web of Science or other, in that section 3 where we were talking about the number of research papers which have been published, right? So we can't include it in the commendation, because commendation is only for awards. And sir, your mic is muted.
That is institutional. That is, the institution is giving some honorarium, or you can say institution is giving some award, which is in financial terms, or maybe it is a commemoration, it may be a certificate, it may be on the website, whatever. So maybe the colleges organize some 6 monthly or annual functions where the outstanding teachers are given awards of any nature. So only those can be there, and if some external agency is giving, then that is not taken.
Okay.
There is
Thank you,
another.
sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. There is another question in the chat box which says FTP from any institute will be considered. And yes, the condition, it has to be 7 days or more. Yes, exactly. Because UGC doesn't consider anything less than 7 days. E-contents uploaded on YouTube, etc. can be mentioned. Yes, they can
Yes.
also be mentioned.
In this regard, may I submit that during COVID time, many of you must have presented something through PPTs. And if your college can have its own website, and on the website, the e-contents, maybe a heading is there or a button is there. And if all of you can put your PPTs, they are also considered as e-contents. So maybe your college gives one area or one slot for each teacher, and each teacher can upload his or her presentations. That is also considered. Strictly speaking, they want something related to any work done for SWAM and the like platforms. But on the contrary, they do consider this LMS system as well.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am,
Sorry,
question-
Dr. Anju, sorry. Dr. Sarita has been raised.
Okay.
If
Okay.
she needs to ask a question, Dr. Sarita? I think that was by mistake. Yes, Dr. Anju, please, can you put forward your question?
Ma'am, I just want to ask that any online courses attended by the faculty, that is some MOOC course or some course from Coursera, is it being credited or given credits?
Again, if those are being recognized by AICTE or UGC, then only
UGC.
they will be considered. Otherwise, they would not be considered.
Okay, ma'am. Some workshops like for this refreshers from for 21 days or 7 days work
Yes, those will be considered.
online also.
Yes. Whether they are online or offline, if HRDC is involved in hosting those, then it will be considered.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
You're
Thank you.
Dr. Raman Kaur has a question. Okay, there is another question which says books published with ISBN number can be mentioned or not. Yes, they can be. The books which have been published with ISBN number need to be mentioned. But the only thing is you also have to mention the name of the publisher.
One caution here, because it is seen that some faculty members are publishing the books, but they are not in a way very pronounced kind of publishers. Like in your promotions, the university has set up a committee where if your books are considered or are to be considered, then the committee decides whether the books are or the publication is worth it or not. What has been happening is that some of the faculty members are paying some money to the publisher. ISBN number is very easy to get, and it is where 4 or 5 or 10 copies are published, and that is all done for promotion purposes. Be conscious on that you have your publications with good publishers. This is one thing that can be tested.
Yeah, that's as sir said is true even for your research publications also. So
yes,
where you are giving even the other research papers which are not included in UGC care list or Scopus or that, please ensure that they are genuine and good publications, because otherwise it is going to have a negative effect. Rather than gaining marks, people will start doubting your entire data and you will lose marks for that. So
Actually, all of you should start publishing in UGC care list, because in your promotion also that goes. And all the simple publications, like we have all stopped publishing on those in those journals which are not Scopus or which are not in the care list, UGC care list. So those may be in your CV, but they may not be considered for your marks.
there is another question where we have been asked if the e-content, when uploaded on websites like we just suggested, whether it is individually considered for each teacher. Yes, it is individually considered. So there are, if 10 teachers have uploaded, then it means there are 10 different entries. That's true. And yes, 1 month FIP conducted by the UGC HRDC at GNDU is also going to be credited. So that is also included.
Ma'am, I just want to ask about the online workshops. If we are attending online workshops, this organized by HRDC.
Yes, ma'am, as long as they are more than 7 days, they will be included.
More than 7 or 7 days also included?
7 or more than 7 days. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And during COVID time, UGC has already given this permission that all the online FTP, etc., will be considered for your promotions and the like. Till date, HRDC has not started offline courses. So all of them will be considered.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I've got a question. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible, Dr. Mansi.
Ma'am, actually, there are some FTPs that are conducted by South universities. They are recognized universities. So, but they are not from their HRTC centers. So, will that be counted or they won't be counted? And my second question is, because recently there was some notification that UGC is saying yes to peer-reviewed journals. So our publication in it will be counted, or still we should go with the care only?
I'll answer the second question first because that's a little easier for me. Yes, you have to go with the UGC care list because there are many fake journals or predatory journals which will say that they are referenced or refereed, but ideally there is actually nothing of that sort. They just take money and then publish your paper. So one has to publish only in UGC care list or Web of Science or Scopus journals. We can't publish in any other journals. That is the answer to the second question. The answer to the first question is it doesn't need to be any FTP or any program doesn't need to be conducted by HRDC of that particular college or institute or university, but it needs to be from a recognized college or university. So that can still be included.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. There's another question. I think it's the same question, similar question, which says, are the refresher courses conducted by colleges like Ramanuja College, Delhi considered for CAS? I'm not sure if Ramanuja College is recognized. If it is not, then they will not be considered.
Actually, those courses that are recognized by UGC or they have been taken from UGC, only those are taken. Yes, I think there is a question, Gagan, and that relates to maybe past publications. Then it was in the care list, now it is not, something like that. Can you read the question?
Yeah, the question is, ma'am, if any journal is deleted from the UGC care list but was there once in the list, will it be considered? Well, if it is during the time frame, if when you are giving your data, for example, if it is between 2015 and 20, and at that point it was included in the list but not now, it should be considered.
I suggest that whenever you publish anything, then simultaneously you have a proof from the website that this was in the clear list, because otherwise you will have to prove it that at that moment it was in the clear list.
So if we have some more queries, please ask. The session was wonderful, and we've gone through a
I
lot
think
of questions and
this
answers.
session has created heat, and this heat is required because all these queries would lead to their preparation towards the assessment. And I may tell all of you that the government of Punjab has established of directors of IQAC of various institutes and other members, and the whole objective is that the colleges, especially the government colleges, they should be trained how to fill AQAR and SSR. So maybe we were advanced in that, and we have already started as IQAC GNDU, and we are trying to impart you training and information in this light that you should start preparing yourself. And I would suggest that in case and at any moment of time, any college wants some other session of some other nature, or if you want maybe offline sessions, we are ready for that also, and the demand has to come from your side.
Yeah, even like while filling the data, so if any college finds a problem, so they can contact any of us, but telephonically also. So we would be very happy to help you out.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
you can send an email to the IQAC email.
IQAC. So I think most of the queries are met. So Dr. Kang.
Ji, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So first of all, I'd like to thank all my fellow colleagues, so who have been there for last around 45 minutes and listened very carefully. I hope so. And I'm thankful to Dr. Gagan for providing very nice and informative talk in a very detailed manner. Lusra sahab, you are most thankful for arranging this series, and we are thankful to our worthy Vice Chancellor, who have given us opportunity to serve at the IQAC, and who has given all this idea to convey the things regarding IQAC SSR to our fellow colleagues in different colleges. Thank you very much. So with all this, so I'm just concluding the session. Yes, please.
One thing. After the session is over, you will receive a form, feedback form, and as soon as you fill that feedback form, you will receive your e-certificate.
Yeah, thank you. So then bye-bye till the next webinar. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, my fellow colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.